I stopped sending Christmas cards to my mother the year she told everyone I was dead. Not metaphorically dead. Not dead to her. Actually, dead. Past tense. Funeral arrangements pending. It started, as these things always do, with something small. 3 years earlier, the envelope arrived on a Tuesday. I remember because Tuesdays were when I did the grocery shopping for Mom, had been doing it for 6 years. Ever since Dad passed and left her alone in that big house on Maple Street. The house that was always too cold in winter, too hot in summer, and somehow always smelled faintly of disappointment and lemon pledge. Inside the envelope, a wedding invitation. My cousin Rachel's wedding. Rachel, who I'd helped through algebra in high school. Rachel, who'd borrowed $2,000 from me 3 years ago for emergency car repairs and never mentioned it again. My name wasn't on the invitation. My mother's was, +1. I held the cream-colored cardstock in my hands, feeling the expensive weight of it. Embossed lettering. Probably cost $8 per invitation. I knew because I'd researched invitations for my own wedding before David left, before he decided that being with me was too much work, and that Sarah from his office was easier to be around. But that's another story. This one is about the moment my hands went cold in that kitchen, holding an invitation that didn't include my name. I called Mom. She answered on the 4th ring, which meant she'd been looking at the caller ID, deciding whether to pick up. "Hi, honey," she said, and I could hear the television in the background. Judge Judy. Always Judge Judy at 3 p.m. I saw Rachel's invitation. Oh, isn't it beautiful? She's doing the reception at the Riverside Hotel. Very classy. Mom. My name isn't on it. Silence. Not the thoughtful kind, the calculating kind. Well, honey, you know how expensive weddings are. They had to cut the guest list somewhere. I'm family, and they love you, sweetie. But with your situation, she let it trail off. She was good at that, letting things trail off so you had to fill in the blanks yourself. Had to be the one to say the ugly thing out loud. My situation? Well, you and David, the divorce. It's awkward, honey. Rachel didn't want any negative energy at her wedding. I looked around my apartment, the 1-bedroom I'd moved into after David took the house I'd paid the down payment on with money from my grandmother's inheritance. The apartment was small, but mine. The walls were cream-colored and bare because I hadn't had the energy to hang anything. The kitchen table was second-hand, but sturdy. My hands were shaking. Negative energy, I repeated. Don't be dramatic, Claire. You know what I mean. She wants everyone to be happy, coupled up. It's her day. I bought her a $200 blender for her bridal shower, and I'm sure she appreciates it, honey. Look, I have to go. Judge Judy is getting to the good part. She hung up. I stood there, holding my phone, feeling something crack open inside my chest. Not break. Breaking would have been cleaner. This was a crack. the kind that starts small and spreads. I went to the wedding anyway. I shouldn't have. I knew it. But Mom called the day before and said, "You should come with me. Rachel feels bad. She wants you there." And because I was still the daughter who did what her mother asked, who bought her groceries and paid her electric bill when she forgot, and who drove her to doctor's appointments she could have gotten to herself, I said yes. I bought a new dress, pale blue, because Mom always said I looked washed out in bright colors. Cost $175 I didn't have. Put it on my credit card. The wedding was beautiful. Rachel looked radiant. The Riverside Hotel had floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the water. The centerpieces were white roses and baby's breath. The cake was 4 tiers with gold leaf detailing. I took photos of everything with my phone, smiling when people looked my way. At the reception, there was no place card for me at the family table. Mom waved me over anyway. "Squeeze in, honey. We'll make room." But there wasn't room. Not really. I ended up sitting at the edge, half on, half off my chair, my purse on the floor because there wasn't space on the table. When the salads came, the server skipped me. When I flagged him down, he looked confused. "I don't have one for this seat, ma'am. This wasn't marked on the chart." My Aunt Linda, Rachel's mother, heard. She looked at me, then at Mom, then back at me. Her mouth made a small, tight line. "Oh, Claire, I didn't realize you were coming." "I invited her," Mom said quickly. "She's family." Aunt Linda's expression didn't change. "Of course. But Claire, you understand, we had a set guest count. The hotel charges per plate." "It's fine," I said. My hands were cold again. "I'm not hungry." "Don't be silly," Mom said, squeezing my arm. Her fingers dug in just a little too hard. "You can share my plate. I always order too much anyway." I didn't share her plate. I sat there for the salad course, the main course, the dessert course. I watched everyone eat. I watched them laugh and toast and take photos. My stomach made small, hollow sounds. Mom didn't notice, or pretended not to. When the dancing started, Rachel's maid of honor found me near the bathroom. "Hey, Claire," Rachel wanted me to ask, "could you maybe sit somewhere else? The photographers are doing family shots and, well, you're kind of in all of them." "I'm family," I said, again. She smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. "Right, but like immediate family. You know what I mean?" I left before the cake cutting. Mom texted me later. "Where did you go? So rude to leave without saying goodbye." I didn't respond. That was the first crack. The second came 2 months later. My brother Mark's daughter Sophie was graduating from high school. I'd been putting money aside for her college fund since she was born. $50 a month, every month, for 18 years. $10,800 in total. Not a fortune, but enough to make a difference. I sent the check to Mark with a card. Inside I wrote, So proud of you, Sophie. Can't wait to see who you become. 3 weeks later, Mark called. Hey, Claire Bear. He only called me that when he wanted something. Listen, about that check. Did it not clear? No, it cleared. That's actually what I wanted to talk about. He cleared his throat. The sound crackled through the phone. Mom mentioned you might be struggling financially with the divorce and everything. So we were thinking maybe you should hold on to that money. Use it for yourself. I was sitting on my couch. It was 9 p.m. I'd just finished a 12-hour shift at the hospital where I worked as a respiratory therapist. My feet hurt. My back hurt. Everything hurt. I'm not struggling, I said. Come on, Claire. We know things have been tight. That apartment you're in, Mom said it's not in the best area. Mom hasn't been to my apartment. Well, she worries, we all do. And honestly, Sophie has her scholarship and the fund from Dad's side. She doesn't really need the money. The thing about having your hands go cold is you don't notice at first. It's gradual, like hypothermia. By the time you realize what's happening, it's already too late. Mark, I've been putting money aside for Sophie for 18 years. And we appreciate it. We really do. But we were thinking, and Mom agrees, maybe you should focus on getting yourself back on your feet first. You know, before worrying about everyone else. I'm on my feet. Sure, but let me talk to Sophie. She's not here right now. Can then have her call me. Claire, don't make this weird. We're trying to help you. I hung up. Sophie never called. The cracks kept spreading. My niece Emily's birthday. I sent a gift. It was returned. No note. Thanksgiving. Mom said dinner was at Aunt Linda's. I showed up with 2 pies I'd baked from scratch. Pumpkin and apple. Because Uncle Pete always said I made the best pies. Linda opened the door in her apron, looking flustered. Oh, Claire, hi. Hi. I brought pies. She didn't take them. Honey, I think there's been some confusion. This is more of an intimate family thing this year. Just immediate. Behind her, I could see the dining room. The table was set for 16. I'm family, I said, for the 3rd time in 6 months. Of course you are, sweetie. But with everything you're going through, we thought you might want some time alone, to heal. You understand? I didn't understand. I understood nothing. But I said, sure, and I drove home with 2 pies and nowhere to put them. And I sat in my car in the parking lot of my apartment building, and I watched my hands shake on the steering wheel, and I thought, this is what dying feels like. This slow erasure. It was my coworker Jessica who told me. We were in the break room. She was scrolling through Facebook on her phone, eating yogurt. I was drinking coffee that had been sitting in the pot since 6 a.m. It tasted like burnt rubber, but I drank it anyway because I'd been up since 4 a.m. covering for someone's shift. Hey, Jessica said, not looking up. Isn't your last name Winters? Yeah? And your mom's name is Patricia? My hands went cold. Why? There's this fundraiser for Patricia Winters, says her daughter passed away unexpectedly and she needs help with funeral costs. She looked up. Her face changed when she saw my expression. Oh my God, Claire, I'm so sorry. I didn't know you had a sister. I don't. But she turned her phone around. There it was. My mother's Facebook page. A photo of me from 5 years ago, Christmas morning, holding a mug of cocoa. I remembered that photo. David had taken it. I was smiling. I looked happy. Underneath, my beautiful daughter Claire passed away suddenly last week. I'm devastated and struggling to cover funeral expenses. Anything helps. R.I.P. Claire. Gone but not forgotten. The post had 127 comments, 53 shares, a GoFundMe link. The GoFundMe had raised $3,807. I read through the comments with Jessica looking over my shoulder. I'm so sorry for your loss, Patricia. She was so young, praying for you in this difficult time. Just donated $50. Hope it helps. What happened? She seemed so healthy, and my mother's response. She'd been struggling with depression since her divorce. It was very sudden. Thank you all for your support. Jessica's hand was on my arm. Claire, are you okay? I wasn't okay. I was dead, apparently. I didn't confront her immediately. I spent 3 days thinking about it. 3 days going through every interaction we'd had over the past 6 years. Every favor, every errand, every time I'd swallowed my own needs because she needed something. The groceries, the bills, the rides, the emotional labor of being the good daughter, the one who called, who remembered birthdays, who showed up. I made a list, not a metaphorical list, an actual list in a spiral notebook, blue pen, sitting at my kitchen table at 2 a.m. because I couldn't sleep. Things I've done for Mom since Dad died: weekly grocery shopping, 6 years, x 52 weeks, 312 trips. Paid electric bill when she forgot. 14 times, approximately $175 each. It's 2,400 purely driven her to doctor appointments 43 times. Fixed her computer too many times to count. Listened to her complain about her life. Every phone call, been excluded from family events. 7 been told I was negative energy, 3 times been declared dead, 1 time. The last one made me laugh. Not a happy laugh. The kind of laugh that sounds like crying. I called her on a Saturday morning. I knew she'd be home. She was always home on Saturday mornings, watching HGTV and drinking coffee. Hi, honey, she said. When she answered, Judge Judy had been replaced by some show about flipping houses. Hi, Mom, how are you? Oh, getting by. My hip's been bothering me. And the electric bill was just outrageous this month. I don't know how they expect people to afford these things. Mom, we need to talk. About what? About the Facebook post. Silence. Not calculating this time. Caught. What post? The one where you said I was dead. Oh, honey, that. She laughed, actually laughed. That was a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding. I was talking about how I felt, like I'd lost you. You never call anymore. I call you 3 times a week. Well, it feels like you're gone, and people were so supportive. They really rallied around me, Claire. It made me realize how loved I am. My hands weren't cold anymore. They were hot, burning. You raised 3,247. People wanted to help. For my funeral. For my grief, honey. Don't be dramatic. You're always so dramatic. I'm alive, Mom. Of course you are, and I'm glad. But you can't blame me for being upset. You've been so distant. Ever since the divorce, you've been different. Not yourself. Not myself, I repeated. Yes, you used to be so helpful, so caring. Now you're just angry all the time. It's exhausting, Claire. Honestly, sometimes I wish. She stopped. Wish what? Nothing. Say it. I just think maybe it would have been easier if you had, not made it through. Then at least I'd have closure. The line went dead. Not because she hung up, because I did. My hands were shaking, but they weren't cold. I was warm. For the first time in 6 years, I was warm. I didn't plan revenge. Not exactly. I planned absence. There's a difference. Revenge is active. It requires energy, effort, attention. Absence is passive. It's the removal of those things. I made another list. Things I will no longer do. Weekly grocery shopping, paying bills, rides to appointments, fixing computers, answering calls after 6 p.m., answering calls before 9 a.m., answering calls on weekends, buying birthday gifts for people who return them, attending events I'm not explicitly invited to, explaining myself, apologizing for existing, setting myself on fire to keep other people warm. That last one was a metaphor, but it felt true. The first test came 2 weeks later. Mom called. I let it go to voicemail. Hi, honey, it's Mom. I need you to pick up some things from the store. I made a list. Call me back. I deleted the message. She called again an hour later. I didn't answer. She called again that evening. I turned my phone off. The next day, there were 7 missed calls, 3 voicemails, 2 texts. Where are you? I need groceries, Claire. This is ridiculous. Call me back. I didn't call back. Mark called on day 3. Hey, Claire Bear, what's going on? Nothing. What's up? Mom says you're ignoring her. I'm not ignoring her. I'm just busy. Too busy to help your own mother? Yes. Silence. He hadn't expected that. Claire, come on, she needs you. She needs groceries. She can get them herself or have them delivered. Most stores do that now. She doesn't know how to use those apps. Then she can learn or you can teach her. I don't have time for that. I've got work and Sophie's getting ready for college and I don't have time either, Mark. So I guess Mom's going to have to figure it out. This isn't like you. Maybe it is like me. Maybe you just never noticed. I hung up. The calls kept coming. Not just from Mom and Mark, from Aunt Linda, from Rachel, from cousins I hadn't spoken to in years. All the same message. What's wrong with you? Why are you being so selfish? Don't you care about family? I started keeping a tally on my fridge. Little tick marks. Each time someone called to tell me I was selfish, I added one. By the end of month 1, I had 37 marks. None of them asked how I was doing. None of them asked if I needed anything. None of them mentioned the GoFundMe. Month 2. Mom showed up at my apartment. I was home, but I didn't answer the door. I watched through the peephole as she knocked. As she rang the bell, as she called my phone, and I could hear it ringing inside, could see her face change when she realized I was there. Claire, I know you're in there. Open the door. I didn't open the door. This is ridiculous. You can't just abandon your mother. I sat on my couch, 6 feet from the door, and I listened to her. You're being so selfish, so cruel, after everything I've done for you. I made a mental list of everything she'd done for me. It was a short list, much shorter than the list of things I'd done for her. Fine, be that way. But don't come crawling back when you need something. She left. I sat there for 20 minutes after I heard her car pull away. My hands were warm, my chest was warm. I felt like I was melting from the inside out, but in a good way, like ice finally thawing. Month 3. The Facebook post started. Mom didn't take down the one about my death. Instead, she added to it. Update. Thank you all for your support during this difficult time. I've decided to use the donations to create a memorial scholarship in Claire's name for young women struggling with mental health issues. Except there was no scholarship. Then, grief is so hard. Some days I can barely get out of bed. If it wasn't for my son Mark and my sister Linda, I don't know how I'd survive. Then, I've learned who my real family is through this tragedy. Some people surprise you with their compassion. Others surprise you with their absence. That one had a photo of her with Mark, Aunt Linda, and Rachel. All of them, at some restaurant I didn't recognize, smiling. The caption underneath, "Blessed to have people who actually care." Jessica showed me at work. "She's still posting about you being dead," she said. "Are you going to say something?" No. Why not? Because the truth will come out eventually. And when it does, I want to see what happens. Month 4. It was Aunt Linda who broke first. She called me. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. "Claire?" "Hi, Aunt Linda." "Is it true? What your mother's been saying?" "What's she been saying?" That you're gone. That she's planning a memorial." "I'm not gone. But the Facebook posts are lies." Silence var I. Long enough that I thought she'd hung up. Oh my God, she said finally. Oh my God, Claire, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. I thought, we all thought that I was dead. Yes. Your mother was so convincing. She was crying at Thanksgiving. She showed us photos. She talked about planning your funeral. There is no funeral. But the money, the GoFundMe. She said she needed help with expenses. She kept it. More silence. Claire, what do you need me to do? That was the first time anyone had asked me that question in 6 years. Nothing, I said. Just know the truth. I'm going to talk to the family. They need to know. Okay, Mama and Claire? I'm sorry for the wedding, for everything. We should have included you. Yes, I said, you should have. It happened faster than I expected. Aunt Linda told Uncle Pete. Uncle Pete told his sister. His sister told her kids. The kids posted on Facebook. Someone tagged Mom. Is Claire actually dead or not? Confused. Mom tried to delete the comment, but there were more. Patricia, what's going on? I saw Claire at the grocery store last week. This is so weird. Is this some kind of scam? The GoFundMe page got taken down. Not by Mom, by GoFundMe, after someone reported it as fraudulent. Mark called. What did you do? I didn't do anything. Mom's a mess. People are calling her a liar, a scammer. She's humiliated. She did that to herself. You could have handled this privately. I tried. For 6 years, I tried. She declared me dead, Mark. What was I supposed to do? He didn't have an answer. Month 6. Mom had to return the money. All $3,857, plus fees, plus interest. She didn't have it. Her bank account was overdrawn. She'd already spent most of it. On what? I don't know. Maybe HGTV made her want to renovate. Maybe she just wanted people to think she had money. The bank called it fraud. They threatened legal action. Mom had to borrow from Mark. Mark had to borrow from Uncle Pete. Uncle Pete didn't let anyone forget it. Your mother cost me $4,000, he said at Christmas. Not to me, to everyone. Loud enough that Mom heard. She left early. Didn't say goodbye to anyone. I stayed. Aunt Linda had invited me. Actually, invited me, with my name on the invitation. Please come, she'd written in the card. We miss you. I brought pies, pumpkin and apple. Uncle Pete said they were the best pies he'd ever had. Mom called me in January. Are you happy now? About what? About ruining my life. About humiliating me in front of everyone. I didn't ruin your life. I just stopped holding it together for you. That's not fair. You declared me dead. I was hurting. So was I. For 6 years, Mom. 6 years of being erased. Of being excluded. Of being told I was negative energy. And you never noticed. You never asked. You never cared. I do care. You're my daughter. Then why did you wish I was actually dead? Silence. I didn't mean that. Yes, you did. And you know what? That was the moment I realized something. I realized I'd been trying to earn your love, trying to be good enough, helpful enough, quiet enough, small enough. And it was never going to be enough. Because you don't want a daughter. You want a servant. That's not true. It is true. And I'm done. I'm done shrinking myself to fit into your life. I'm done apologizing for existing. I'm done. So that's it? You're just going to abandon me? No, I'm going to live my life. If you want to be part of it, you can be. But on my terms, not yours. She hung up. 8 months later. I don't send Christmas cards to my mother anymore. I send them to other people. To Jessica, who brought me coffee every day during the worst of it. To Aunt Linda and Uncle Pete, who apologized and meant it. To Sophie, who called me 6 months after the wedding to say she was sorry. That she didn't know what Mark had told me. That she'd been saving the money I sent and wanted to thank me properly. I sent one to Rachel. Inside I wrote, "Congratulations on your marriage. I hope you're happy." I meant it. I did hope she was happy. I just didn't care anymore whether she wanted me there to see it. Mom sent me a Christmas card last year. It arrived the week after Thanksgiving, forwarded from my old apartment. I'd moved. Bigger place. 2 bedrooms. Got a dog. A rescue named Henry, who sleeps on my bed and doesn't judge me for eating ice cream directly from the container. The card was generic. Snowman on the front. Inside, in Mom's handwriting. Thinking of you. Love, Mom. No apology. No acknowledgement. Just thinking of you. I put it in a box with all the other cards she'd sent me over the years. Birthday cards with checks for $20 that always felt like an obligation. Mother's Day cards I'd sent her that she'd never acknowledged. Christmas cards from years when I was still trying. The box sits in my closet now. I don't look at it often. But I keep it. Not because I'm sentimental. Because I want to remember. I want to remember what it felt like to be small, to be erased, to be declared dead while I was still breathing. I want to remember, so I never let anyone do it again. Mark still calls sometimes. We talk. Not about Mom, about Sophie mostly. About his work, about nothing important. He doesn't ask me for money anymore. He doesn't ask me to fix things with Mom. He just calls. And sometimes, that's enough. Aunt Linda invites me to things now. Always with my name on the invitation. Always with a note. We'd love to see you. Sometimes I go, sometimes I don't. But I always feel welcome. That's new. Sophie is in her 2nd year of college. She's studying engineering. She sends me photos of her projects. Bridges made of popsicle sticks. Robots that sort M&Ms by color. She's brilliant. She calls me Aunt Claire now, not just Claire. It feels good. Last month, she asked if I could help her with a project. I need to interview someone about resilience, she said, about overcoming adversity. I immediately thought of you. Me? Yeah, you're the strongest person I know. I cried when I hung up. Good tears. The kind that feel like healing. People ask me sometimes if I regret it. If I regret cutting my mother off. If I regret letting the truth come out. I don't. But I also didn't do it for revenge. I didn't do it to hurt her. I did it to save myself. There's a difference between abandoning someone and refusing to be consumed by them. There's a difference between being selfish and having boundaries. There's a difference between revenge and consequences. My mother made choices. She chose to exclude me, to minimize me, to declare me dead, rather than confront the reality of our relationship. Those choices had consequences, natural consequences, not because I orchestrated some elaborate plan, but because I simply stopped preventing them. I stopped being the buffer between her and the world. I stopped making excuses for her. I stopped shrinking myself to make room for her chaos. And when I did that, the truth became visible to everyone. I think about my dad sometimes. He died when I was 25. Heart attack. Sudden. No warning. At his funeral, Mom was inconsolable. She wailed. She grabbed people. She made it a performance. And I stood there, watching, thinking. This is what grief looks like to her. Loud, visible, everyone watching. But I didn't cry. Not then. Not at the funeral. Not at the reception afterward, where everyone ate ham sandwiches and told stories about Dad that I didn't recognize. I cried 3 weeks later, alone in my car, parked outside a Target. I cried because I'd seen a man who looked like Dad from behind. Same gait, same jacket. And for a second, my heart had leaped. And then he turned around and it wasn't him. And the disappointment was so sharp it took my breath away. That's what real grief looks like. Quiet, private. A punch in the gut when you're not expecting it. Mom's grief was a performance. Her pain was always a performance. And I was always the audience. Until I wasn't. Now, I have a new therapist. Her name is Dr. Reeves. She's practical and direct and doesn't let me get away with anything. Do you think you'll ever have a relationship with your mother again? She asked me last session. I don't know. Do you want one? I thought about it. Really thought about it. I want the mother I needed. The one who would have protected me instead of sacrificing me. The one who would have included me instead of erasing me. The one who would have said, I'm sorry, instead of, you're too sensitive. But that's not the mother you have. No. So what do you want with the mother you do have? Peace, I said. I want peace. Dr. Reeves nodded. That's a good start. It's December now. The Christmas cards are going out next week. I have a stack of them on my kitchen table. Red envelopes, gold pen. I've been writing them slowly, thoughtfully. Each one gets a personal note, something specific, something true. There's no card for mom in the stack. Maybe next year, maybe not. For now, I'm learning something I never knew before. That love doesn't have to hurt. That family doesn't have to mean sacrifice. That setting boundaries isn't the same as setting fires. Henry is asleep at my feet. Sophie's latest project photo is on my fridge. Jessica and I are going to a movie tomorrow. My apartment is warm. My hands are warm. I'm not dead. I'm not erased. I'm here. And that I'm learning is enough. I wrote a letter to my mother once, 3 months after I stopped answering her calls. I never sent it, but I keep it, folded in that box in my closet with all the cards. Sometimes I take it out and read it, not because I want to send it, because I want to remember what I was feeling when I wrote it. Dear Mom, you asked me once why I was being so cruel, why I was abandoning you, why I couldn't just be the daughter you needed. Here's my answer. I was never cruel. I was just tired. I was tired of earning love I should have had for free. Tired of apologizing for taking up space. Tired of being told I was too much and not enough, often in the same breath. You declared me dead because, in a way, I had been. Dead to my own needs. Dead to my own boundaries. Dead to the version of myself that existed before I learned to make myself small. But I'm not dead anymore. I'm alive. And I'm choosing a life where my presence is celebrated, not tolerated, where my help is appreciated, not expected, where my love is reciprocated, not exploited. You taught me what family isn't supposed to be. And for that, in a strange way, I'm grateful. Because now I know what to look for, what to build, what to protect. I don't hate you. I don't wish you harm. I just wish you could have been different. I wish you could have been the mother I needed instead of the mother you were. But you can't. And I accept that now. I'm building a new family, a chosen family. People who see me, who include me, who would never in a million years declare me dead while I'm still breathing. This isn't revenge. This is survival. And I'm finally alive, Claire. The letter stays in the box. The box stays in the closet. And I stay here, in this warm apartment, with this good dog, sending Christmas cards to people who actually care. That's not a victory. It's not a triumph. It's just the truth. And the truth, I'm learning, is enough.